Networking with women? Is that something that you're interested in?
The perfect scenario.
Yes. So we're going to be talking with 3 experts in networking with women in the show, so stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to episode 65 of Soho Insights, brought to you by Parallels. The company behind Plus Control Panel, the control panel you need to use if you host your website anywhere as a small office, home office business. All of our web hosting clients do. And Ovali, where we empower your small office, home office businesses by providing you with web hosting, email, voice over IP, and web conferencing in one place that speaks your language. Hello, I'm Kathy.
And I'm Jen, and tonight's episode is all about networking. So
this is going to be a great episode. We've got 3 experts with us.
Because I emailed out these women, I thought, fingers crossed they'll say yes, because I know they're all very busy and all very successful at what they do. So I'm thrilled to be able to have them on the show. Absolutely thrilled.
Yes, this is a big night for us. So thank you, ladies.
Night.
Can't wait to start.
The women that are on, it's Tammy Redman, Debbie Whitlock, and Lori Richardson. And now we've had a little bit of interesting trying to get them on Skype this evening. So we've got 2 of them on. We're hoping we can get Lori on. But if anything, we'll have her on for some audio. Yeah, that's Tammy. She did an awesome job. So we just got done sponsoring an event on Friday night called Total Networking in Seattle. And Tammy, the first pictured, was the MC, one of the MCs. Lori was the organizer. And this next one, Debbie, she's actually taking over the event tomorrow.
I have to say, that was an impressive networking event.
It was a huge event.
Yes, I was so happy we got to be part of it.
All of the networking groups in the Seattle area were brought together to what's that called? Not compete,
collaborate.
They were brought together to collaborate and to talk to one another, and it was pretty fantastic. It was a great experience, and we're very proud to be part of it.
Very proud. Yes.
Yeah. So
the 3 ladies are going to go on in just a minute. We're going to do a really fast talk about our sponsor, but I just want to say again, thank you so much for all of you for making our night, and I'm sure many of you had such a great night. We got to actually meet Angela Gia Kim too, and she was an amazing lady.
So if you can show some of the photos from the event too. We'll pull those up. Angela Gia Kim was one of the speakers, but also the owner of Brambleberry.
Oh my gosh, what an inspiration.
And the author of that book actually up there, Motherhood is the New MBA. When she came on, I was like, oh my goodness, we own that book.
And we actually heard her speak last summer.
So that's Angela Gia Kim. She got down on the carpet with us and sat in a circle, which we're really thankful that we came early because she ended up being sick later. There's some other awesome attendees, but it was a great event and something that was worth it. Oh, there's MC Tammy Redman.
And Jen. We're going to try and get Jen.
We'll hopefully be able to have her on at some point, too, on the show. But yeah, it was fantastic. And as small office, home office business owners, it's tough to get out of the office. It's a big deal to get dressed up and put on
that's one of our clients.
Smile, that type of thing to talk to people. But it was fantastic. And I'm sure a lot of you that are on the chat today, which by the way, I've got the chat pulled up. So if you want to ask our guests questions, you're more than welcome to go over to ovali.tv/live and be on the chat and ask them questions, and I'll make sure to relay it over to our guests.
Yes, why don't we get started with the sponsor?
Yeah, let's talk about our sponsor, Parallels, because it fits in nicely in that small office, home office business owner, we all have websites. And Plesk is actually the control panel in which we offer our web hosting clients. It's made by Parallels, which provides us with the control panel, like I said. It was made for the small business owner that doesn't necessarily have the budget to rely on a design or marketing team to help them set up email addresses, manage hosted applications like their CRM, or even do some simple website maintenance. The team at Parallels really cares about the end user and takes the time to research products and applications that every small business owner needs. It's easy to navigate. The control panel has one-click options for installing WordPress, which, hello, thank you, that's awesome. And then also a web presence builder that's drag and drop, which if you don't know what WordPress is, it's fantastic. So anyway, drag and drop web presence builder. It should be easy for all business owners to be able to launch their own websites and emails. Parallels Plus Control Panel ensures that every business owner can do that with just a few clicks. So head on over to ovaleye.tv/parallels to find out how they're making the lives of small business owners that much easier. Easier. As you can tell, I was not reading from anything for that.
All right, so let's get started.
Yeah, so let's introduce Tammy Redmond, first of all. And she prepared a little video where she talks, she's talking to, and actually, Tammy, if you're on the line, why don't you set up this video and tell us a little bit about yourself if we can bring Tammy on.
Tammy.
Absolutely. Well, it's a fun video that I just recorded last week, actually. It's a brand new video, and I recorded it at the nudging from our friend Deb Whitlock for the North America's Next Greatest Speaker competition that eWomen Network is hosting, and their deadline was today to get the video in. So you guys are actually the second to see the video.
Wow.
I sent it off, and then I sent it to you guys as well so that you could have it for tonight. So it's a tip. It's a 90-second video. It's a tip about how to get off the roundabout. We all can spin in circles. I work with teams and leaders, and they are great at spinning in circles, and often it's because they don't know their exit strategy. And so it's got 3 tips in it that you can apply immediately to any business, any family, any relationship, and it's great for new drivers. So
I like that.
So let's go ahead and get it all
We'll put that on ovaleye.tv too for everybody to get to.
Definitely show it.
So it's very good.
A great video. So we're going to play it on the TV behind us.
Roundabout. You know those really large structures that are in the middle of busy intersections? They're round and circular, and you're to enter in at one point and exit at another. They're designed to help traffic move fluidly through busy intersections, and in theory, it's a great idea. Well, right up until you are on a roundabout with a new driver or somebody who doesn't know how to maneuver the roundabout and is stuck spinning in circles, clutching the steering wheel, not knowing what lane to be in and what exit to take. And it scares everybody who's trying to maneuver the roundabout with them. Causes a lot of tension, fear. I see this happen with leaders and teams all the time. Stuck on a roundabout, spinning in circles, and not able to find the performance lane to take them where they want to go. So what's a leader to do? What's a team to do? How do you stop the spinning? How do you stop the spinning? 3 simple strategies that you can employ today that will change where you're going tomorrow. Number 1, push the pause button. When you start spinning, simply push the pause button, step back. Number 2, get clear on what's happening and where you want to go. Because when you have clarity, every decision you make will become easier. And number 3, have an exit strategy. You've got to know where you're exiting to so that you can be in the right lane to get there. That's how you get off the roundabout and into the performance lane.
Very good.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that analogy of the roundabout.
Pause button.
Yeah.
I've
It's
had
good.
that pause button. Yes. Okay. All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I am a leadership team coach. I help leaders who are frustrated with their dysfunctional teams take the group they have and transform them into the team they want. I'm very passionate about that. I also do a lot of speaking, and I just got back this fall. I had the opportunity to go and do some work in Shanghai, China, which was amazing. So I travel not as much as I'd like to. How about that? I'm going to change that this year and go around and speak on topics that are motivating for leaders and teams around mindset, limiting beliefs, performance strategies, and really, you know, bottom line is how do we play in the sandbox together? How do we communicate so that we are effective with each other? That's what I love to do, and people like to hire me to come in and help them. So
Awesome.
That's a good thing.
So Tammy, who do you work with? Who's your favorite client to work with?
Yes, please tell us.
My favorite clients are the ones who don't think they have any problems at all, and they like to do this and point their fingers at everybody else. They're my favorite because they don't see the impact that they have, negative or positive, and they're not necessarily aware of it. And I love being able to go in and expose what's happening and expose, I call it the pink elephant in the room. Actually, I don't know if you saw my pink elephant ring I had on, my Swarovski crystal pink elephant ring on Friday night at the event.
Oh,
I go in and I expose the pink elephant for people that they can't see, and often it's the ones that have the greatest blind spot, the greatest scotoma to the elephant, to the issue, and it's often them. And some of my most favorite, actually, truly, have been elected officials. I've worked with a lot of elected officials, and they're the ones that have the greatest blind spots, and in my experience. And I like going in and helping them see the other side and see the possibilities.
That's very nice.
Love it. Oh, okay. So, Tammy, what's the deal with the pointy shoes? Maybe give us a little background on that. But I read about it on your Twitter.
And she had somebody design her dress on Friday night, too.
Really?
Yeah, she did.
I did, yes. Jen, you missed that? How could you miss that? No, I'm teasing. Yes, Bree Seeley, she's a former client of mine, fashion designer, award-winning fashion designer, and she designed a dress, that dress for me. And I have another one that was in pinks, but purple was the color on Friday, so I had to wear the purple one. The pointy-toed shoes come from, I'm kind of if you haven't noticed yet, I like to have very visual aids, if you will, for people to get clear really quickly, real quick and in a hurry. And I have fun little taglines that I say that people often go, "What did you just say?" And so if you follow me for any period of time, you'll see I have a team of people out there that like to repeat my hokey Dinah's, oh my heck, pointy-toed shoe, a lot of things I like to say. So the pointy-toed shoes come from, I love pointy-toed shoes. What girl doesn't love a great pair of shoes, right? And I love pointy-toed shoes, but they're a great visual when you walk into a group of people, in with a team, and they are not necessarily they're not wanting to get along. They're not figuring out what strategies to put in place or wanting to play in the sandbox nicely. And, a visual aid of a pointy-toed shoe and just walking in and saying, I've worn the shoes for the occasion, now let's get to work.
Oh, I love that.
Everybody on the ball really quickly. So that's where the pointy-toed shoes come from.
That's a very good idea.
Love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Visual aids.
Tammy said it a couple times, and I was like, wonder where that's come from.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Tammy, you did such a fantastic job on Friday. I have to say, you're very well spoken. You were great at bringing the energy up,
But I always think quite highly of people that can stand on stage and talk the way she did. Her and Jen did a very good job.
I know they both really did a good job. We were up on stage for like 60 seconds, and I was so nervous. So I don't know how you guys do that. So Tammy, what we want to hear from you is your tips on how to woo a room. What should you do when you go into a networking group? Because Tammy put out a few videos along with the other host, Jen Mueller, about what not to do in a room.
I watched all of those. I thought they were cute.
As small office, home office business owners who are used to working by ourselves, not around people, what are the best
And let's put those videos up on ovaleye.tv because those were good resources.
No, they were really good ones.
I think it's okay.
So we'd love to share them as you'd like. So if I understand the question correctly, how do we go in and at a networking event and woo the room or have maximum impact? Is that
yes?
That's the question?
Yes.
I think having a strategy of what you're at the event for in advance is always key. You got to know why you're going. Am I just going to make friends and have a glass of wine with some great ladies? Then you're not really networking, I don't think. I think you're there to have fun and have a glass of wine. You want to be strategic and have an idea of why you're there, what you want as a takeaway. So as an example, I went to an event on Saturday night, actually. It was an event in town, and it was a fundraising event, and I went with a strategy that, one, yes, I do want to go and socialize and just be girly and get dressed up and have fun. But two, I knew that there was some key people there that I wanted to reconnect with that were key in our community. And so I set the intention to make sure that I spoke with them and just engaged with them on a very fun and personal level, but was strategic about that. And I had that plan in advance so that I wasn't caught off guard when I was there. I wasn't surprised, and I didn't walk away feeling, like broke, busted, and disgusted in myself because I was didn't use the time efficiently or effectively. So I think you want to have a plan. It's my number one tip. Have a plan before you go.
I thought that was the best plan because I think it's more effective for all of us if we have that plan going in, because you're only there for so many hours and you got to get the most out of it too.
Absolutely. And the tip on the video is, pick the 5 people that you want to meet. And if you can do that, if you go to a monthly event, I loved what the ladies on Friday night said. They said that, they were very clear about the return on their investment of their time with social media. Well, the same goes for your networking. You have to know what you're going for so that you can really see, are you getting your money back on time that you're investing? So it's very important.
I have to say, there were a few girls that I met that they were employed, being sent there by people that said, my employer gives me a certain amount of hours and I need to go to fulfill that amount of hour. I have to say, I was a little surprised by that. They're super sweet girls, and they didn't do anything wrong as far as networking goes, but as an employer, I thought, I got to make sure that if I do send somebody that they totally understand what their mission in being there is. Otherwise,
yeah, they must.
I thought of Tammy Redmond when she was saying that. I was like, in fact, you need to know why you're here.
Those businesses should have that video.
I know.
Yes.
Anyway,
that's great. Well, you girls send it to those companies. I would be happy to have that happen. And you're right. And I think it is important as an employer that when you send people on your behalf, how do they represent you? What's their mission to be there for you as the employer? I saw some of them, talk to some of those girls as well that were there as a have to, and they were probably already thinking forward to how they got to take extra time off on Monday morning because they put in extra time on Friday night, and that's a why bother. Why bother at that point for the employer, in my mind?
Right, exactly.
Good takeaway there.
So we wanted to bring in the event organizers, and so I'm going to go ahead and transition it. It looks like Lori, we still haven't gotten her up on video, but we should have her on audio by now. So I'm going to go ahead and transition this over, and we're going to welcome Debbie Whitlock on, and then we'll bring Tammy back into the mix when we talk about women and networking and all that fun stuff. So here we go. Let's go ahead and ta-da! Hello, Debbie!
Hello!
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yes, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for asking. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do while you were at Friday night's event?
Yeah.
In your purple sparkly.
I love it. Yeah, I was kind of sparkly. It's so fun. I love these women's networking events because you really do get a chance to be a girl in all ways that are so fun. And, we all just really appreciate it when we kind of take that time to go through that little extra effort. And as you ladies know, when you're working from home, sometimes we don't get a chance to be very sparkly. And it's real nice to be able to go out and see other women and be able to do that. My story essentially is I have been in the financial services business for about 16 years. I opened my own company in 2003, and I built it up and was just getting near the knocking on the $1 million mark that many entrepreneurs and especially women business owners aspire to. And this was in 2006, and I was taking a walk on the beach, and I kind of had a breakdown. And I realized that my soul was being sucked from me and that my vision was not to build a large insurance agency with 18 staff people. That my passion and my purpose really was with working with clients one-on-one. And so I made a really tough decision, and I helped 18 people relocate. And I found myself at the beginning of 2007 with no cute FedEx guy delivering me my very highly qualified leads every Tuesday morning. And I didn't know the first thing about building a business. I relocated here to worldwide headquarters, and I really felt like I had lost my identity. And went about, through the great help of some great coaching myself, I'm a big believer in that, that I needed to get out and learn how to be a better resource for my clients. And when I went into networking from that perspective, instead of what's in it for me, but what can I do to help my clients in their transitions, everything shifted. And I look forward to networking events now like there is no tomorrow, and just can't even tell you guys the value that as a solopreneur now that it brings to me personally and professionally. In fact, the networking that I do now is attributed to just over 90% of the revenue that's generated for my business now every year. It is the primary source of marketing that I do for myself and my business.
Can you say that part again for our audience,
90%?
please? 90%.
90%. Yeah.
And huge.
And the interesting thing, and this didn't happen overnight. Now, keep in mind, this journey started in 2007. I didn't know what my 60-second introduction of myself and my service was. I didn't know how to effectively communicate what I needed for my business. But what I've watched is that as relationships developed, the referrals and the introductions started to come in, and it takes time. But that most of the business that comes to me now is from a second or third degree contact. It's not necessarily direct from the source.
I have to say that's, I think it's a little more than just you connecting, because I saw you on Friday and you worked the room. You had a purple sparkle dress on, and your smile lit up the whole room, too. So I think it's a combination, too, of you connecting and sparkling, if you want to say that.
Charismatic
Yeah,
person.
very
but
charismatic.
I think it is important, though, that she said that it wasn't easy from the very beginning. It was something you worked at in order to make it that successful.
Yeah, it is. And, it's the kind of thing where if you parachute into a room and your entire message is, hello, here I am, people really pick up on that pretty quickly, versus if you parachute into a room with the idea and the intention of, hello, there you are. When you make it very other focused, people are naturally drawn to you. They're naturally interested in what it is that you're doing, because you genuinely do care and are concerned about them and their success.
Yes.
So we have a few other questions that we want to get to, and hopefully Lori's on the phone now. And Lori, if you're on, will you give us a little hey?
Hello.
Oh, yay.
Awesome. She's
I'm
on. Okay, so Lori, really fast before we get into you. Debbie, why don't you talk to us a little bit about why you do eWomen and where that plays into your networking
please.
value chain?
Yes.
Yeah, so for me, so after interviewing essentially a number of different networking organizations during that year in 2007, it took me until that fall to identify that eWomen Network was my networking home. And that I just really felt that the values instilled in the organization, this philosophy of give first, share always, was in line with my core values and how I wanted to partner and do business with people. So I became a member in 2007. I actively jumped into the community, volunteered like crazy, because I knew that was a great way to be known in an organization, is through volunteerism and giving back. And a year ago, when the previous managing director announced that after 5 years of building this amazing organization here in the Seattle area, that she was ready to turn over the leadership to someone new, my first thought was not pick me, but it was through the great counsel and suggestion of other professional women in my life that I chose to say yes. And it has been an absolute gift to be able to steward and lead and encourage and motivate this amazing group of women in our community.
Awesome.
So your story was very good for especially small businesses that are just women
in a transition period too.
Yes. So I hope everybody shares this video because that is really good information.
Yeah. So Lori, now that we have you on the line, why don't you tell us a little bit about this event, that Total Networking? And like we said, Debbie, who's on with us right now,
Debbie's going to be doing
she's going to be doing it next year. So, Lori, when you put Total Networking together, what was your vision for the event getting started?
So can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can't see you, though.
Can't see me, but I'm here. So my name is Lori Richardson, and I'm what people tell me I'm a master connector. I'm also by nature a sales detective because I'm in the business of sales and marketing and have been with my own business since 2002. And in 2004, I went with another woman entrepreneur. We drove down to Portland, and we went to this event at the Oregon Convention Center, which had 300 or 400 women, and it was like a big party. And I'll never forget the feeling I had when I went in there. There was a nonprofit piece, there were awards that were going on, there was music, and all these marketing tables, and everyone had these awesome gifts that they were raffling off. And it was just, we left there going, wow, what a fun place. And we met so many people. It was just fantastic. And I said, back then in 2004, I said, there's nothing like that in Seattle. And I had this vision to help create something like that. And it took a number of years. It took 5 years because it didn't have its first year until 2009, but now with our 4th year, more than 900 women have participated. Some are the same, actually 900 cumulatively, which some are the same people. So
well, congratulations
I know,
on
congratulations, because if you're not in our Seattle area, it's literally every women's networking group is invited to this space, and it's a few hundred women that are in a room together. And like Lori said, it does kind of feel like a party. I wouldn't say that you threw it together like a party, but it did kind of have that same energy. So Lori, what's your vision? What was your vision for it long term?
The long-term vision was that it's this annual event that everybody puts on the calendar a few months in advance, and they show up and they contribute and they make a connection. I heard the other day that there were 2 women that met last year at one of the round tables, and they're best friends now.
Oh,
and I just thought that's such a cool thing. And there are other women that have met that have done business together. And to me, that's what's great, is to get out of your normal day-to-day and, get off that roundabout. Of course, in Boston, we call them rotaries, which is even more confusing. and take a different detour and meet people that just are different for a change, new people that you're not normally exposed to, because typically there's something valuable you can learn from them.
Absolutely. I agree with that. We learned so much on Friday night, and Jen's gone 3 years. I've gone 2 years now, and each time we meet somebody new.
Yeah, which is really nice. So now that Debbie is gonna, and let's bring Debbie back on. So now that Debbie's taking over, Debbie, do you have a similar vision in it? What was the idea in you taking over this event? Why, and what will it look like from now on?
So I keep joking that I'm like that 1980s commercial that was the shaving, like the Gillette shaving commercial, where the man says, "I liked the product so much, I bought the company." It seems to be like this pattern for me that I really fall in love with an event or an idea, and then an opportunity presents itself for me to step in and participate in the planning. And when Lori and I started talking about this, I think it was almost a year ago at the last event, again, my first thought was not, oh, pick me. But just over time, as the idea continued to settle a little bit more, I thought, the opportunity that I was given in leading eWomen, which I'm still continuing to do, has given me some great ideas to really be able to take and leverage and build upon this amazing event that Lori created here 4 years ago. And so just being able to really follow the fundamental, I'm a big believer in, if it's not broke, we don't need to go messing with it. but just to be able to continue adding more to it, making sure that those connections that are initiated at the event are going to be able to turn into relationships that, you know, potentially could become profitable, you know, centers of influence and generate revenue for a business, which is really important. So it's really about just building upon this great event already, getting more interaction, I think, with the community and leveraging some of the solid relationships that are already there.
A perfect scenario.
I know. I'm excited to see where the event goes. And Lori did such a fantastic job starting it all, but I really am excited to see where Debbie takes it. So I wanted to ask all three of you and bring you all into this question. We've got 2 questions. I know we're running over time a little bit, but let's pop you all back in.
This is too good to stop.
I know. So we've got 2 questions. One is from someone that's actually in the chat named Deborah Drake. Is it Deborah or Deborah?
Hello, though.
Deborah.
Okay, Deborah.
So she had a question that I want to start with. That was actually really interesting about networking. And let me see if I can say it verbatim. Sorry. The producer looked at me like I was nuts. Here we go. Okay, so it talks about productivity. Okay. Yeah, so how do you feel about the time that we spend plugged in and how that relates to our productivity, given that the current younger generation is all about staying alert to incoming messages? So
good question.
Yeah, what's your take on productivity and being plugged in to be present on social media and Facebook, Twitter, etc.?
Well, this is Tammy. I'd love to just jump in because I've taken, as those that are in my network know, several breaks from social media, and I've unplugged for weeks and months at a time from different things, social media related, because I found that I was spinning all plates, trying to do all the different things that were out there in social media world. And again, it goes back to return on investment. And if I am putting so much out but not receiving anything back from it, from a business, from leads, or, you know, generating leads, that I need to pay attention to that. But more importantly, I've got to look at my energy level. And if I'm not nurturing myself and giving back to myself and recharging my own batteries, I'm going to be worth nothing out there to anybody else. So to the productivity piece, and with all the options that we have available, you've got to know to push the pause button for yourself on a daily basis. Have those things that ground you every day, that give you, that are sustainable for you or allow you to be sustainable for your network. That's what I would say.
Okay, I like it.
That's interesting. So, Debbie, do you have anything to add for that as far as, here, let's pop you over into the screen. As far as social networking online versus in person, do you see any value? Is there a difference in value between the two?
Oh, yes, very good question.
Would you weigh one in person heavier than online relationships?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think that what I love about social media and online relationships is that I do believe that it allows us access in a way that we've never had before. And potentially opens doors that before would have taken us much longer. So it shortens also the cycle and the time frame in order to be able to let relationships develop. But at the end of the day, while we can be little tiny pictures on Facebook or little tiny images on Twitter, at the end of the day, we're still human beings, and we relish in absolute contact, eyeball to eyeball, you know, handshake to handshake, hug to hug, physical contact. And that's where the depth of the relationship builds, is through that interpersonal connection. The social media space, it definitely gives us access and speeds up the relationships. But at the end of the day, we still need to make sure that we're out there actually sitting down and building the depth of the relationship, not just the width and the number of friends that you have on Facebook or fan pages.
Actually, Ovaleye has decided to get out more because we're in a small office, home office lifestyle.
But I really do like how you say that that shortens the cycle.
Yes.
I never really thought about it that way, but that's true. It makes you feel like you know someone so much faster, as if, you know, you're just going to that monthly networking event. It really does speed up the process of being best friends.
Yeah, faster. But Twitter and all of the social media too kind of introduces you to, I mean, you knew a lot of people because of social media there.
Well, okay, Friday. So Lori, you're really active on Twitter. Do you find that Twitter this is another question as far as social media networking, and I feel like I've taken it a little bit off, but since I have you on here, Twitter versus Facebook. Have you found that one is more beneficial for your business as far as building relationships goes?
Well, first, I want to echo what Deb was saying about there's no replacement for being in person. With that said, we're in the business of a niche that's called social selling, and so we actually can do a lot in terms of cultivating relationships online and with an in-person element when possible. But a lot of our clients are not nearby, and their clients and potential clients are not nearby. So you do what's appropriate. And in our case, we work with businesses that sell to other businesses. So it's a little bit different than people that sell to consumers. And, Twitter is an amazing research tool. People do not understand the value and the potential of Twitter just for that alone, even if they're not active on Twitter. So we like to help people learn how to use it to build their sales pipeline. And Facebook, I think it's not as great of a business-to-business tool. I think you have to be on it, but I really think Google Plus is where it's going to go for businesses.
We've heard that a couple times. Yeah, we've heard that a number of times, especially networking with a very male-oriented industry. Yes. Everyone was on Google Plus. It's funny, and we go to the women's networking events, and nobody's on Google Plus.
They're on Pinterest.
Yes. Yeah, they're on Pinterest. True. Exactly. So it's really there's a fun conversation happening in the chat room with Anne Marie, who, oh my gosh, I'm like your number one fangirl after Friday.
Oh, wait a minute, Anne Marie.
Yeah. So
hello, Anne Marie.
Yeah. Everyone says hello.
Huge fan.
So she's talking about how social media can become a distraction for her social media staff too, and it's true because we have a community relations manager, and we're present on social media, and it is part of our sales stream, part of our marketing. But at what point does Twitter, like Lori was saying, how do we use it effectively, and how are we just kind of wasting time responding back and forth to people and initiating conversation? So I think that's an interesting debate to be having. Maybe not on this show because we're already running over time.
We're running real late.
I still have one more question for you ladies. And I think I'll bounce this back to Tammy to get started with. So let's bring her back over there. So Tammy, actually all of you ladies, but Tammy will start off. Networking with women. So we're a very male-oriented industry where you don't see a whole lot of, cross our fingers, we don't see a whole lot of web hosts.
And not a lot of mom-daughter teams.
In these women networking events. And people criticize us sometimes for going to these networking events, but we don't, like we said, we don't see a whole lot of other men there, so why not? Do you see value in networking with woman to woman kind of experience versus going into a co-ed environment? Co-ed, does that make sense? I don't know if I asked that question correctly, but
thank you. What I believe that I heard is, does it make sense to go to women events only, or should you stay in the co-ed arena? So I think you answered the question for yourself, from my opinion, which is, your demographic, and yes, your demographic is, your industry is more male dominated. However, you have a strong, if you have a strong female following, then yes, you want to spend time in the female arena. It comes back to who's your audience, and I've spent so much time this year narrowing my audience down, and just to a tight, I'm walking on a tightrope with it, and my coach is like, can you narrow it further? And the freedom it has given me has been, I can't wait to do writing about it. I just needed to stay in a realm of reflection for a while. To your question, you got to know, I believe it's very imperative that you understand who your audience is, who your demographic is, because it tells you then what events you want to go to. Are those people there? And who are they? And who are you going to make a contact with?
On this, all right. So, Tammy, that was perfect. I totally agree with you.
Perfect.
Yes. Loved it. Not that I'm the say all of this, but I really appreciate it. So I'm going to switch over to Debbie now, and we're going to go ahead and ask Debbie same question, but let's take it from the angle of I'm a graphic designer that can work with men and women, and I just am trying to get business building. Like when we were there on Friday, I sat next to Verity Credit Union, who are also sponsors. I learned a crazy amount of stuff from them that I would not have known if I wasn't there on Friday. So it's not only just to make sales when you go to networking events, but it really is to learn from other entrepreneurs. Do you think that there is a value in a single sex kind of event versus going to talk with men? Are we losing something by not mingling with the other sex?
I think it goes back to something, it's a great question. I think it goes back to something that Tammy said early on, which is have a clear course of action and intention for the reason that you're attending whatever event it is. You know, in my case, I'll use myself as an example. In the financial services business, I work with suddenly single women. So really, like Tammy said, you know, I'm walking that tightrope with those women. With the radio programs, I'm talking specifically to women. And yet there are events, there are chamber events, there are events with the Puget Sound Business Journal that are, you know, collaborative events with men and women entrepreneurs and business owners. And so I look at those as a way to, yes, I might be able to meet new people and I, you know, make a new connection, but it's also, usually I'm going into it for the, how would this event help me be a better resource for my client? At the end of the day, that's always the question that I ask myself is, how could this event that I'm considering attending make me a better resource for my client? And when I start coming at it that way, it's real easy for me to decide whether I'm going to, you know, a co-ed event or if I'm going to just be hanging out at a ladies' event. And I'll tell you guys this, though, we're seeing a lot more men attending these women events because they're recognizing that we do business differently. We really build relationships, and the guys who get it, as we call them, are starting to see that there are great opportunities inside these women's events in these communities.
I agree on that, and those guys are our clients too, and I really enjoy them as our clients because I think we learn a lot from them too.
Yeah, so that was, again, another fantastic response. Not that I feel funny kind of grading each of them, but I am. You've brought little pieces together that you don't really think about. So the last question, I want to end all of this with Lori, the godmother of Total Networking.
And that did a great job.
So yeah, you did a fantastic job, again, really fast at the event.
Thank
now,
you.
Deborah brought it up, one of the girls that's in the room chatting, one of the women, I don't want to say girls, one of the women that's chatting, and the fact that you're more relaxed and confident when you're in a room with other women as a women-owned business. When you were planning Total Networking, did you have any of that type of more visceral feeling as far as building a business goes behind when you were planning this event?
Well, and that is a very good question. And I would say I, too, work in a male-dominated industry because we mostly work with technology companies that are doing more than $2 million a year in revenues, up to $40, $50 million a year. And so, honestly, I'm a third-generation entrepreneur. I want to see more women succeed in business. I want to see more million-dollar women-owned businesses. And I wanted to help mentor women. And that's why I go to Total Networking. That's why I help create it, because we need everybody to help, pull each other up and mentor and support and champion each other to grow business and be successful. And so I don't go to those events looking to sell anything. I go there to make connections, and I think that's a really good way, because if you go and look for interesting people, interesting things will happen. And so that's my motto when going to an event of any kind.
That is the perfect way to end that.
So that's a perfect way to end it. And really, so I have to add my 2 cents really fast. So Madeleine Albright, former Secretary of State.
Oh, yes.
This is a saying I remember daily, is that there's a special place in hell for women that don't help other women. And I do Young Female Entrepreneurs. It's one of the organizations that I'm a director of. And every once in a while will approach a coach that I would like to bring some form of message to our community. And it's amazing the number of women that return to me and say, what am I going to get out of it? Yeah. What are you going to pay me for this? And I do this as like a passion project, and to have someone come back to me and say, what are you going to give me for it? I just want to be like, don't you just want to help other women? And
Succeed.
I get it. And it's this whole other conversation that could go on and on about how much we give of ourselves and what we need to get in return for that type of a thing. It's just hard for me as someone of the younger generation.
About this a lot, so.
Where I have my mom day in and day out. It's just like, I don't know how other women do it. But anyway, not to end it.
No, that was Lori's.
I did like, though, Lori, you brought up a great point, and I think that's one of the reasons why we love the event so much is that it's all, the women there are very gracious with their advice and their time while you're at the table with that person.
And everybody came up to us and told us their experiences with other hosting, which was huge for me, a huge learning experience. So thank you all that are listening for helping us out too.
Yeah, so we wanted to thank our guests, and we'll have all of the information about where you can find them up at ovaleye.tv tomorrow. We had Tammy Redman on, Debbie Whitlock, and of course Lori Richardson, and they were all, you can see their photos right now.
Panel. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much for being on tonight.
We're honored.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Thank you so much.
All right.
So this
Good night,
was
ladies.
yes. So this is episode 65. Tune in for Small Businesses Do It Better tomorrow.
Night.
Connie, who is the
Random Acts of Kindness.
yes, and she does amazing things for
she's on our
small
team.
businesses, and she is on the team of Oval Eye. But we're getting her into the studio tomorrow night at 7.
Yeah, so you can find the show over, like we said, at ovaleye.tv, but we're also on iTunes, Blip, and YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.